Good evening aspirants, welcome to daily editorial analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 6th March 2025. I have an important announcement before getting into the discussion. Shankar IAS Academy's pre-fit test series for 2025 prelims is going to start. The batch 3 will be starting on March 10th. There will be 54 tests. So interested aspirants can use it. Now look at these two editorial articles, one taken from Hindu and another taken from Indian Express. So these are the two important editorial articles we are going to discuss in this video. The first article is about the centralization of medical education. So the domicile-based reservation in state-run medical education institutions are going to be cancelled, and this leads to over-centralization of medical education. What are the advantages and disadvantages regarding this? So this is what we are going to discuss in this article discussion. The second article is about the Panchayati Raj institution, the role of women leaders in Panchayati Raj institution, and the proxy leadership of women in the local governance. So this is what we are going to discuss in the second news article. Now let us get into the discussion. Now look at this article. The article discusses the issue of proxy leadership in Panchayati Raj institutions. In Panchayati Raj institutions, the elected women leaders are often overshadowed by the male relatives. So this highlights the need for capacity building programs and institutional support for the women leaders. There should also be better remuneration to empower the women sarpanch. The government's initiative recently to curb the proxy leadership is a very welcome move, but the effective implementation of this move is crucial for the real change in the Panchayati Raj institutions. So this is what this editorial article is talking about. In this context, we shall discuss about the Panchayati Raj institutions, what are the constitutional provisions, and about the women leadership in Panchayati Raj. Now look at this mains question. This is related to the topic we are going to discuss. See, the Panchayati Raj institutions were established under 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. This constitutional amendment added Part 9, which is Article 243 to 243O, and it also added a 11th schedule to the Constitution. So this Constitutional Amendment Act recognized the Panchayati Raj institution as a third tier of government, which is the local self-government. And the Panchayati Raj institution was mandated as a three-tier system: Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti and Zilla Parishad. The Gram Panchayat was at village level, the Panchayat Samiti is at block or intermediate level, and the Zilla Parishad is at district level. Now these are the important constitutional provisions regarding Panchayati Raj institutions. Please know that the local governance comes under the state subject, which is under the list 2 of entry 5 under schedule 7. So basically the local governance is a subject of a state under the 7th schedule. The states have their own Panchayati Raj Act to implement the constitutional mandate. Even before the 73rd Constitutional Amendment, many states have created their own Panchayati Raj Acts and they have created Panchayati Raj institutions. So this Act of the states define the structure, powers and functions of Panchayati Raj institution in each state. Panchayati Raj Extension to Scheduled Areas Act 1996. This act extends the Panchayati Raj institutions to the 5th schedule areas, which are the tribal regions. This act also recognizes the traditional self-governance and gives the Gram Sabha a special powers regarding land, forest and resource management. Now look at the other relevant laws. The Representation of People Act 1951. It governs the election process regarding the Panchayati Raj institutions and also the disqualification and the conduct of representatives in Panchayati Raj institutions. Finance Commission recommendations are also relevant regarding the Panchayati Raj. The Finance Commission strengthened the financial autonomy and fund allocation to Panchayati Raj. So the devolution of funds from the state governments to Panchayati Raj is also guided by the Finance Commission. Now let us discuss about the things which we have seen in the editorial article. What is a proxy leadership? See, in many cases, the women representatives who are elected as the head of the Panchayati Raj institutions act just as a figurehead. But the male relatives who are the husbands or the father of the woman representative, they control the real decision making. So this is the proxy leadership. The women representatives who are elected as the head, they serve as the proxy leader, but the real head will be their husband or father. Now what is the issue regarding this proxy leadership? Firstly, the reason for this proxy leadership is a lack of education, financial independence and less awareness about the woman power. So the woman has to depend on the male family members for their governance decisions. There is also an important thing called Sarpanch Padi culture. This is a common issue where husbands of the elected woman Sarpanch attend the meetings and make decisions on their behalf. So this Sarpanchpati culture is a very prevalent one in northern India. The proxy leadership also defeats the purpose of women reservation in local governance. So this leads to poor policy implementation at grassroots level, and this also neglects the perspective of women in local governance. Even though there are many laws which prohibit the proxy leadership, the lack of enforcement or implementation and also lack of monitoring allows such practices to continue. Now, what are the challenges faced by women in Panchayat Raj institution? First one is social and cultural barriers. Patriarchal attitudes discourage the woman from independent decision making, so it forces them to depend on the male relatives. Then lack of financial independence. Women sarpanch often lack access to fund and government resources, so this makes them dependent entirely on their family members. So they cannot make their own decision and depend on the family. Women leaders also face threat, violence and pressure from male dominated local politics. They also lack training and awareness. Many women in local governance lack knowledge about the governance, so it makes it difficult for them to exercise their leadership properly. Next, about the limited mobility and digital access. Rural women often face mobility constraints and also the lack of digital governance platform. So this restricts their involvement in local governance. So these are important challenges regarding the role of women in local governance or Panchayat Raj institutions. So with this, let us conclude the discussion and move to the next news article. Now look at this article. This article is about the recent Supreme Court ruling in Tanuj bail case. This case is about the domicile-based reservation in PG medical admission. It is about the concerns regarding the excessive centralization in medical education. But the Supreme Court judgment promotes meritocracy and weakens the role of states in ensuring a stable healthcare workforce. So this case has implications for federalism, public health planning and equitable healthcare distribution. In this context, we are going to discuss about the domicile-based reservation in medical education. Now look at this mains question. This is regarding the topic we are going to discuss. Now what is a domicile-based reservation? It refers to allocation of fixed percentage of seats in the medical college for the students who are permanent resident of the particular state. So a fixed number of seats is reserved for the students who belong to the particular state. So this is the domicile-based reservation and this is implemented in the medical education. So this policy aims to ensure that local students have better access to medical education and also providing opportunity to serve in their home state for a healthcare system. Now what is the objective of this domicile-based reservation? It encourages doctors to serve in their native state addressing the regional shortages. So thereby it promotes a healthcare workforce retention. Next one is equitable access. So it ensures the state residents to get fair opportunities in medical institution admission. And next one is public health planning. So this helps the states to invest in medical education which is aligned with the local health care needs. So these are important advantages or objectives of the domicile-based reservation. Now let us see the pros or advantages of domicile-based reservation. First one is retention of medical professionals. The states use domicile-based quotas to ensure medical graduates remain in their home state, so they can address the regional doctor shortages. Many studies have shown that doctors trained locally are more likely to serve in rural and tribal areas. So this will retain a lot of medical professionals in the local state. The next one is state investment in medical education. See, the government funded medical colleges invest significant resources in training the students. By taking away the domicile quotas, the states will lose the doctors to their region. So it will reduce the return or investment in medical education. So this will discourage the states to invest in the medical education. The next one is addressing the rural healthcare gaps. See, many states face severe shortages of specialist doctors, particularly in public hospitals. The quota mandate doctors to serve in the government hospitals will improve the access to public health care in underserved areas. Also during pandemics, that is during COVID-19, the local availability of trained professionals is very crucial. The domicile-based reservation also helps to maintain a stable and geographically distributed healthcare workforce. But recently, the government is trying to neglect this domicile-based reservation and leads to over-centralization of medical education. Now, what will be the consequences of over-centralization in medical education? The first important consequence is weakening of federalism and state autonomy. The Supreme Court ruling limits the power of the state to implement the policies which are suited for the regional healthcare need. As the healthcare falls under the entry 6 of state list, it is the responsibility of the state to ensure adequate number of healthcare professionals for their population. When we are centralizing the medical admission, the ruling infringes upon the state policy making authority. So it weakens the federalism and also the autonomy of the states. So recently the Supreme Court has ruled that the domicile-based reservation cannot be followed in the state medical admission. So this leads to over-centralization of medical education, and this over-centralization will definitely harm the federalism and state autonomy in medical education. This will also lead to brain drain from the states. Without domicile quotas, the medical graduates are likely to migrate to other metropolitan cities or foreign countries. The rural and semi-urban areas will suffer critical shortage of specialized doctors. So as I said earlier, the domicile quotas will have more doctors from their state, and the doctors are more likely to serve in rural areas in their home state. So this will have more doctors in the rural and tribal areas. If the domicile quota is removed, then if a doctor has to work in other state, they are less likely to choose the rural areas. So this is an important challenge in over-centralization of medical education. Next one is rising inequality in healthcare access. The states with the fewer private medical colleges will rely heavily on the government institution. Also, the lack of locally trained doctors will be worsened. This is due to regional healthcare disparities. So ultimately, it will also impact the Article 21, that is right to health. The right to health is indirectly affected when the states cannot regulate the availability of doctors in the public hospital. If the doctors keep migrating, the patients in the remote areas often face reduced access to the healthcare professional. So this will infringe the Article 21 and the right to health. So this is what this editorial article is about. Recently, the government is considering about the over-centralization of medical admission. That is to eliminate the domicile-based quotas in the state admissions, and they are going to over-centralize the medical admission, and this will negatively impact the federalism and state autonomy and medical education, and it will also impact the availability of doctors in rural and tribal areas. So there are some advantages for domicile-based reservation, and there are many cons for the over-centralization of medical education. So with this, let us conclude the discussion. Now we have come to the end of the discussion. If you like the video, please share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.